Hello there, and welcome back to Late Napalm's News, because today I'm talking about the May sales in the Gaijin store and purely about the naval side of it. I know I'm a bit late because when the video is coming out you basically have 1 day left, not even, and honestly we have some good packs and there is some interesting information about them. As usual, links in the video description down below, because if we go here right at the end, note the following packs will be retired after the promotion ends, and there are 2 ships in there that are, well, not bad, in fact really good, that we have to talk about, namely the Prinzen Eugen, which is an old school premium and I hate to see it gone, and the HMS Iron Duke, which isn't here even half as long as the Prinzen Eugen in the Gaijin store, but what do I know? And especially Iron Duke is the only top premium so far. So hop over to the Gaijin Net store and we can see the bundles here all over the place, and we go back to where the bundles actually are. You see a lot of planes, a lot of tanks, but here we have the Prinzen Eugen, and as far as heavy cruisers go, this is one of the better ones. It doesn't have the best armor, it doesn't have the best AA, but the AA still works. The armor isn't overly fragile, especially on the turrets if you compare it to Japanese contemporary heavy cruisers or light cruisers. The shells are nasty, 12 seconds reload. The secondaries have AP, it's more about the volume rather than the quality. You have single Bofors all over the place, you have powerful HE, you have a nasty SAP, and as I mentioned, the AP is really good. Now you cannot research the top rank with this, because therefore you have a premium battleship which is only available so far for GE, and the Prinzen Eugen also packs a fairly nasty torpedo punch with a lot of reloads. You can launch 6 of them at once, either for short range brawls or if you use the torpedo mod even at longer ranges. For 60 euros it was always overly nasty, and it should be 30 euros, so this is your last and only chance to get this at a reasonable price. But again, this is something more for lovers rather than for pure grinders, even though you can have a lot of success with this ship, and again, amongst heavy cruisers this is my preferred pick. And since it also has been gone down in BR to 5.7, this is just a nasty thing to play with. Then we come to the IGN Yamashiro, and here we have 35 euros for what looks on paper to be the best battleship, but honestly, having played it for quite some time, I think that the 14-inch guns are quite disappointing. This has to do with the AP shells, which are just not the best for its kind. So other ships in the tech tree with higher battle ratings, including the battle cruisers, they just have better shells, and you notice this. It's not outright bad, but what is actually bad is the armor over the magazines, because the belt is kind of missing. There's just a turtleback, and I'm sorry, but that's overly fragile. I've been detonated left, right and center by all sorts of ships that just looked at me the wrong way. The belt, when angled, can withstand something, but the ship has basically no real AA. Then we come to the Arkansas, and this is just, I would say, pun intended, a bit of a standard ship, but it does the job. 12-inch guns, 30 seconds reloads, it has enough pen to do the job, it doesn't have SAP but only HE, it's not really outright brilliant, but it does the job. It's a steady, reliable grinder, and it doesn't have some armor plating missing, and this is probably so far the best ship, aside from the USS Alaska, that you can use for grinding. But you know, you have to get to the Alaska in the first place. Then we have the HMS Iron Duke, and it has the heaviest HE shell in the game from 10 13.5-inch guns, 30 seconds reload. It has some decent secondaries like all the other battleships so far, and yeah, it's not overly fragile, but it's not really a brick wall for enemy shells. It's okay, and when Gaijin will remove this one, then there is nothing left for the British to purchase to get into top tier, which is surprising. So either that indicates a new premium arriving soon, TM, or we get an outright new rank soon, TM. So for 35 bucks, it's quite a okayish pick, to be honest. And last but not least, we have the Marat. The Marat doesn't have the best armor. It doesn't have anything the best. But what it does have is the magazines being very low underwater, and it's really difficult to purposely ammo rack those ships. If they give full broadside, especially at close distance, you can poke a lot of holes, but none of this matters. It's a nasty opponent. Yes, it doesn't really like its turrets being knocked out one after another. It doesn't really like getting torpedoed at all, but who does? And it's a steady grinder. It has some really nasty SAP. The AP works, the HE works, the AA is good enough, and it also costs you 35 euros. And let's just have a look in game, and let's just have a quick look at it. So this is the Arkansas, and it's probably the battleship with the best AA, and it's not really outstandingly good, but it has some radar. Now, when you angle this, there are some shell catchers. Be aware of this. Don't over angle it. The turrets firing angles are not outstandingly good. Deck armor is actually really good. If you look at this, what is very close to an all or nothing armor scheme, it's not quite there, I know that, but you get my point. Then we come to Germany, and we get to, come on, the Prinzen Eugen, and that's only an 80mm belt. The Des Moines has just shy of 150mm, but you have a turtle back, but it's only 40mm and going down to 30mm over the machinery. But the turrets have some armor. Will they get knocked out? Regularly. Will they get knocked out as much as the Japanese heavy cruiser equivalents? No. And yeah, as I said, you have some nasty torpedoes. Overall 26 if you include the reloads, and it's a really nice ship to play and really satisfying if you make the AP work. The SMS Nassau is probably the cheapest of the battleships, but it's not included in the pack discounts. It was last available for GE. So this is also really a nice ship if you're looking for the top grinding machine for Germany, because if you look at it, the Prinzen Eugen can research only at max rank 5. Rank 6 you get a nasty RP penalty, and it's not really efficient to grind with. And if you also can put a talisman on the Ostfriesland, you know, that's also quite nice. With the Marat, here you can see the belt is not really strong. You can even be penned by heavy cruisers at the medium to short distance, and the turret faces are well angled but also can be penned. And you have 4 triple turrets, and the thing is, it's about the magazines, how low they are underwater. Look at this. How can you hit that? Not even with plunging fire. Only at long range if you angle and one shell goes straight through the entirety of the ship without hitting anything. And that is the secret to the Marat. Yes, it has some really nasty shells. HE, AP, SAP, and another even heavier HE. And also the secondaries are quite nice. And then we go to the Iron Duke. And the thing is, again, the armor isn't really that thick, but it has coal bunkers and a bit of a turtleback. Again, it's very well constructed in the thing that the ammo racks are not that easily hittable. but I've exploded often enough to not rely on this as much as on the Marat. And the AP is average, but at least it works, so you don't have the effect like on the Yamashiro, because you have the choice between the 13.5 inch APC Mark 1A and 3A, with the 3A being a bit better in pen and this one having a higher yield. I mentioned this because the HMS Orion has the Mark II A, and that is the worst of both worlds in actual effectivity. My English is bad. Efficiency, yes. Or effectiveness, yeah. Proper English, please. Losing it while talking about the British is quite ironic, I know. And then we come to the Yamashiro, and please switch, yes. And this is basically where the plates are thinner. And if you look at this, you have here no coal bunkers and only a 32mm belt, and yeah, as you can see, it's slightly above waterline, and that is nasty. So this is probably the easiest to be ammo racked, and if I remember correctly, especially the middle two ones are the ones that you just die by. So this is really problematic on the ship. And just for comparison, you have here this shell, which has a little bit less pen, but that can't be all if you compare it to the effectiveness of, for example, the Ise, which has roughly 30 millimeters more of pen, bit less TNT, but it just hurts so more. And in a shootout, you can absolutely lose to the IJN Haruna, which is a Congo class battlecruiser, despite having 50% more guns. So despite it being really good looking and having the biggest guns of any premium so far, this is the least desirable ship, and that's it. So we're not talking about the Italians or the French, since they are relatively new, which I think is a shame, because especially for the Italians, if you look into the tech tree, the RN Leonardo da Vinci is a really, really good ship with 13 guns and 5 turrets, really high pen, and just overall effective. It's an absolute killer ship. But for the French, the Courbet, no thanks. No thanks. That is one of the worst premiums out there, despite being 6.3, by the way. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. So the quick recommendation is try to get the Prinzen Eugen if you're a bit of a fan of heavy cruisers and not really that after grinding RP for the Germans. Yamashiro, slightly disappointing actually. Arkansas, not really that impressive on paper, but in actual battle it does the job. HMS Iron Duke is your last chance to get the top tier premium so far for the British, and it actually works as well. And then there is the Marat, which is the silent Soviet super killer, and yeah, it does the job as well, but it feels a bit boring doing it. But again, that's my personal opinion. At the end of the day, it's up to you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know in the comment section if you have bought anything already. Do you really like what you bought, or do you need help doing it? Little tip, watch my videos. That's it for me today, so thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, links are in the video description down below. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more. For you it's just a couple of clicks, for me it means the world. And as usual, we will see each other on the battlefields, in the skies, and on the waves of War Thunder.